There's a truth social media will never tell you. Truly successful people usually live very differently from what you see on the internet. You see luxury cars, trips around the world, successful at 25 videos, stories about getting rich in just a few months. But you don't see the lonely years behind it. You don't see the mornings they woke up with no motivation left. You don't see the failures that made them question themselves. You don't see the long years of working in silence with no recognition at all. And that's what makes so many people today feel exhausted. They think they're failing just because their life hasn't changed fast enough. They watch other people break through on social media, then quietly feel like they're falling behind. But let me tell you something. Real success has never been an overnight explosion. It's more like planting a tree. For a very long time, you almost see nothing happening above the ground. No applause, no huge results, no recognition. But underneath the surface, the roots are quietly growing. The problem is, most people quit during the root growing stage. They want to be seen too early. They want results before growth. They want life to change without changing themselves. And that's why so many people spend their entire lives in disappointment, not because they lack potential, but because they don't understand the truth about success. Today, I want to share with you principles that very few people dare to talk about. Truths that may make you uncomfortable, but could also save you from years of feeling lost. And stay until the end of the video, because principle number 7 could completely change the way you see success in your entire life. Principle 1: success takes much longer than you think. I want you to imagine something. If today you plant a seed in the ground, tomorrow you dig it up to check if it has grown yet, then the next day you dig it up again, what do you think will happen? That tree will never grow. But unfortunately, that is exactly how most people treat their lives. They start a new goal. After a few weeks, they don't see results and they panic. They start learning a new skill. After a few months, they tell themselves, maybe I'm just not meant for this. They try to change themselves, but the moment life doesn't change fast enough, they immediately think all their effort is pointless. And I understand that feeling, because we're living in an era that makes people impatient with their own lives. You open your phone, and within minutes, you can see hundreds of people who seem to be succeeding faster than you. One person shows off their revenue. Another shows off a new car. Another says they changed their life in just 6 months. Slowly, you begin to feel like you're being left behind. But there's something social media never shows you. They show you chapter 20, but never the first 10 years. They show you the stage, but not the sleepless nights. They show you the results, but hide the price. And here's the most dangerous mistake. Many people start measuring their progress by someone else's speed. They forget that every life grows at a different pace. Some trees only need a few months to grow, but others take years just to build strong roots. Bamboo is a perfect example. For the first several years, you barely see anything happening above the ground. From the outside, you would think the tree is failing. But the truth is, it's developing the most important thing, its roots. And then one day, it shoots up incredibly fast. Human life works the same way. Many people you admire today once went through years when nobody believed they would ever succeed. Walt Disney was once fired for being not creative enough. Colonel Sanders traveled everywhere trying to sell his fried chicken recipe and got rejected hundreds of times before KFC ever existed. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he created in 1985. From the outside, everything looked like failure. But those very years built the foundation for stronger versions of themselves later on. That's what most people don't understand about success. Real success is not built on the days you feel motivated. It's built on the days when nobody cheers for you, nobody sees you, and you still keep going. That's why I always say, self-discipline matters more than inspiration. Because inspiration gets you started, but daily habits are what change your destiny. Some people spend their entire lives searching for the secret to success, when the truth is actually very simple. Do the right thing long enough, even when you don't see results yet. It doesn't sound exciting, but real growth is rarely exciting in the beginning. The gym isn't exciting when your body hasn't changed yet. Reading books isn't exciting when your mindset hasn't expanded yet. Discipline isn't exciting when your life is still chaotic. The problem is, most people want the feeling of victory before they're patient enough to build the foundation for it. They want a new life, but can't tolerate the phase where nothing is happening yet. And that's where most dreams die. Not because people lack talent, but because they quit too soon. You don't fail because you move slowly. You fail when you stop. Remember that. Because in an age where everyone wants instant results, the people patient enough to continue will become extremely rare. And rare people usually end up winning. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, are you really moving too slowly, or are you just impatient with your own growth process? Because sometimes the most amazing thing happening in your life is actually the stage where you think nothing is happening at all. And that brings us to another truth very few people want to face. Everyone admires success, but almost nobody wants to look at the sacrifice behind it. Principle 2, people only see the results, not the sacrifice. There's something very strange about human beings. We often admire success, but hate the price required to achieve it. You see someone who is financially free, but you don't see the years they lived under pressure. You see a successful entrepreneur, but you don't see the nights they stayed awake until 2 or 3 a.m. solving crises. You see someone confident and mature, but you don't see the wounds, failures, and loneliness that shaped them. The problem is, life always shows you the final result, but rarely the painful process before it. And that's why so many people have a completely distorted view of success. They think, if this makes me tired, maybe I'm on the wrong path. No. Sometimes, being tired is a sign that you're growing. I still remember many years ago, when I met truly successful people, what surprised me wasn't their money. It was the level of sacrifice they were willing to accept. Some sacrificed comfort. Some sacrificed meaningless entertainment. Some had to accept being misunderstood for years. And some people went through phases where almost nobody believed they would ever achieve anything great. That's the part the internet doesn't like to talk about, because sacrifice isn't attractive. It doesn't create instant dopamine. It doesn't go viral. But that's where real success principles are formed. You know, one of the biggest traps of this era is flex culture. People are obsessed with looking successful instead of actually becoming valuable people. They want a luxurious lifestyle, but don't want discipline. They want huge results, but not the repetitive, boring days. They want admiration, but don't want to go through the invisible phase. And that's why so many people only chase the image of success, not its true substance. But real success is usually very quiet. It happens on mornings when you keep working even though nobody sees you. It happens when you continue improving your skills, even before anyone recognizes you. It happens in moments when you want to quit but still decide to take one more step forward. That is where character is built. I want you to remember this. Every major achievement comes with a season of loneliness, a stage where you work hard but see no results yet, you change but nobody notices, you grow but still feel lost, and unfortunately most people quit during that season. Because they think, if there are no results yet, I must be failing. No. Maybe you're simply in the phase where the roots are growing. Steve Jobs went through that feeling. After being fired from Apple, he once said it was one of the most painful experiences of his life. Imagine that. Being removed from the company you created, most people would collapse. But instead of stopping, he kept building. That period that looked like failure actually created a more mature version of Steve Jobs later on. That's what life often does. What hurts you today might actually be preparing you for something bigger. But you have to be patient enough to get through that stage. This is why self-discipline matters so much, because your emotions will change every day. Some days you'll feel full of motivation. Some days you'll doubt yourself. Some days you'll feel like you've made zero progress. But daily habits are what keep your life moving forward. Not emotions, not motivation, but the ability to continue even when your emotions are no longer on your side. That's what separates mature people from those who only like the idea of success. Do you know what the saddest thing is? A lot of people want a better life, but don't want to let go of the version of themselves that keeps them stuck. They want a new future, but keep old habits. They want success, but don't want to pay for it with their current comfort. But life doesn't work that way. You cannot build an extraordinary life with average choices repeated every day. So ask yourself, are you truly pursuing success or just chasing the feeling of being seen as successful by other people? Because those are completely different things, and that difference will determine your entire future. Principle 5, success always requires trade-offs. There's a question very few people truly dare to ask themselves. Do I really want success? Or do I just like imagining it? Because those are two completely different things. A lot of people love the image of success. They love imagining freedom, money, recognition, the feeling of being admired. But the moment life starts demanding sacrifice, they immediately hesitate. And that's where most people's dreams end. You have to understand this. Everything valuable in life comes with a price. A healthy body requires discipline. A strong mind requires hardship. A great career requires time and sacrifice. A mature character requires going through difficult years. But today, we live in a world constantly selling people a dangerous illusion. That illusion is, you can have everything without giving up anything. No, life doesn't work that way. If you want a different future, you must become a different person. And that process always costs you a part of your old self. Maybe you'll have to sacrifice comfort, meaningless entertainment, leisure time, the habits that are keeping you stagnant. Sometimes, you even have to sacrifice being understood by other people. Because when you start changing, not everyone will like the new version of you. Some people only feel comfortable when you stay small like before. When you become more disciplined, they call you extreme. When you start focusing on your goals, they say you've changed. When you no longer want to waste time the way you used to, they feel distant from you. And that's one of the most painful parts of growth. You realize that not everyone will walk with you toward becoming your better self, but that's the price of growth. You cannot keep your old self and expect a new life. That's one of the most important success principles many people try to avoid. They want life to change, but still keep the same. Old mindset, old daily habits, old environment, old way of thinking. That's like wanting a healthy body while keeping every habit that makes you weaker. Impossible. Life always demands exchange. You want growth? You must sacrifice ease. You want freedom? You must sacrifice procrastination. You want success? You must sacrifice short-term comfort. That's why self-discipline matters so much. Discipline helps you choose what is more important instead of what feels more comfortable, and be honest with yourself. Most decisions that destroy the future begin with comfort. One more hour scrolling on your phone, one more day procrastinating, one more time breaking a promise to yourself. Everything feels very small in the beginning, but years later, those small choices create two completely different lives. Do you know what most people regret the most when they get older? Not that they failed, but that they stayed in their comfort zone for too long. They knew they could become more, but they didn't have the courage to trade their current comfort for growth. And then time passes. Life keeps moving, but deep inside, there's always a feeling of incompleteness. That's why I want you to remember this. The pain of discipline is usually temporary, but the pain of regret can follow you for the rest of your life. Some people work hard for a few years, so they can live freely for the rest of their lives. But others live carelessly for a few years, then pay the price for a very long time afterward. And life always asks you one question: which heart do you want? The heart of growth or the heart of regret? Because you cannot avoid difficulty. You're only choosing which type of difficulty you'll live with. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what in your life do you know needs to change, but you keep delaying it simply because it's uncomfortable? Because sometimes, the moment you stop chasing comfort is the moment your life truly begins to change. But there's something even more dangerous than comfort. It's when people begin confusing attention with real success. Principle 6, social media makes you confuse attention with success. There's something silently destroying the mindset of many people today. They are no longer pursuing real value. They are pursuing attention. And the dangerous part is, those two things look very similar from the outside. A person famous on the internet can look like a successful person. A video with millions of views can make people believe the creator is living an amazing life. A life filled with glamorous images can make you think they've won at life. But remember this, attention is not always success, and fame is not always value. Today, many people spend their entire lives trying to look successful. Instead of truly building an admirable life, they focus on image, likes, quick recognition, the feeling of being noticed, but inside, they still feel insecure, still lack direction, still feel empty when they're alone. That's why some people have enormous attention, but no peace. The internet has made people measure their self-worth through other people's reactions. How many views? How many followers? How many people approve of me? Slowly, they stop living for real goals. They live to be seen, and that is a very dangerous trap. Because when you become too dependent on attention, you begin losing yourself. You'll say what other people want to hear. You'll live according to trends. You'll constantly change yourself to be accepted. And eventually, you may gain a lot of attention, but lose your true identity. That is not success. That is sacrificing your identity in exchange for validation. I want you to think about this. If one day the internet disappeared, would you still feel valuable? That's a question many people are afraid to face because they've spent so much time building an image that they forgot to build inner strength. But mature people understand something very important. Real life does not operate like social media. In the real world, sustainability is always stronger than glamour. A person with strong character will go farther than someone who only knows how to attract attention. A person with self-discipline will build a more stable life than someone who only lives by emotions. A person who consistently builds skills every day will surpass someone who only knows how to create the image of success. That's why real success principles often seem boring to the internet, because they aren't sexy. They don't go viral. They don't create instant dopamine. Daily habits don't go viral. Discipline doesn't go viral. Repetition doesn't go viral. But those unattractive things quietly create the strongest people. Do you know the saddest thing? Many people spend hours editing the image of their lives, but cannot spend even 1 hour improving their real lives. They want other people to think they're growing, but real growth doesn't come from looking better. It comes from becoming better. Some people are very quiet online, but in real life, they are quietly building skills, careers, health, mindset, character, and years later, their lives completely transform. Meanwhile, some people spend so much time showing the journey that they no longer have enough energy to actually finish it. That's why I've always believed the most dangerous person is not the one who talks the most about ambition. It's the person quietly growing every day, because they don't need the internet to make them feel valuable. They build real value from within. And when you start living that way, you feel much freer. You stop obsessing over what other people think, who is surpassing you, who is paying attention to you. You focus on only one thing. Am I becoming a better version of myself than yesterday? That's the real game. Not competing for attention, but competing against the weaker version of yourself. So ask yourself, are you building a real life or just building a version for the internet to look at? Because one will bring long-term peace and the other will leave you forever dependent on other people's eyes. And that's also why so many people want to be seen too early, before they are truly ready for success. Principle 7, many people want to be seen before they are truly ready. There's a silent disease in this generation. People want recognition before they've been refined. They want to be seen before they truly have something solid to offer. They want the stage before building the foundation. And this is more dangerous than you think, because when someone is seen too early, before their character, skills, and maturity are strong enough, that attention doesn't elevate them. It weakens them. It makes them live for other people's reactions. It makes them confuse attention with true value. It makes them forget that success is not about being seen by many people. Success is becoming strong enough so that when opportunity arrives, it doesn't crush you. I want you to think about this. If today life gave you exactly what you're asking for, would you truly be ready to keep it? If you achieve success faster than your maturity level, would you have enough discipline not to lose it? If you received recognition before building character, would that recognition make you more humble or make your ego bigger? That's a question very few people dare to ask, because everyone wants opportunity, but not everyone prepares themselves to deserve it. Today, many people want fame quickly, want to build a personal brand quickly, want to be called experts quickly, want success quickly, but they haven't spent enough time learning deeply, doing real work, failing for real, correcting mistakes for real, truly maturing, and because of that they may receive attention for a moment, but they cannot stand firmly for the long term. You see, the taller a building is, the deeper the foundation must be. Nobody sees the foundation. Nobody takes pictures of the foundation. Nobody applauds the foundation. But without it, the entire building collapses. Your life works the same way. The quiet years of preparation are the foundation. The days you study while nobody knows. The times you practice while nobody praises you. The failures you overcome that nobody witnesses. The small daily habits you maintain every day. All those things are building the deepest part of your life. And if you skip that stage just because you want to be seen faster, you may gain attention, but lack the strength to sustain success. I once learned a very important lesson from truly successful people. They are not in a hurry to appear. They are in a hurry to grow. They are not rushing to be recognized. They are rushing to become valuable. They understand that when your inner value becomes great enough, Sooner or later, the world will notice. But if you only try to make the world notice you before there is real value inside you, you will live under constant pressure to prove yourself. And that is a prison. You are no longer free. You constantly have to perform, constantly explain, constantly prove that you are succeeding. But truly strong people are different. They don't need to prove themselves every day. They let the results speak after years of living correctly. That's why self-discipline matters so much. Discipline helps you do the right thing, even when nobody recognizes you. Discipline helps you continue building, even before anyone notices you. Discipline helps you ask, am I better today than I was yesterday? Instead of, how many people notice me today? And that is a massive shift. Because when you stop living to be seen, you begin living to truly become. Those are mature success principles. Not becoming impressive quickly, but becoming strong for the long term. Remember this. Don't beg for a bigger stage. If you haven't prepared a strong enough soul, don't beg for fast success. If your daily habits are still weak, don't beg for recognition. If you haven't learned how to keep promises to yourself, because sometimes the best thing life does for you is not giving you success too early. It is protecting you from having something you are not mature enough to keep. So ask yourself, do you truly want to be seen, or do you want to become someone worth seeing? Those are very different things. And once you understand that difference, you will stop envying people who move fast. You will focus on building your foundation, because you understand that what comes fast is often lost fast. But what is built through character, discipline, and time can withstand every storm. But even if you achieve success, even if you gain money, attention, and results, there is still a deeper truth you must face. Money alone cannot heal the emptiness inside a person. Principle 8, money cannot heal inner emptiness. There's a truth many people only realize after achieving what they once dreamed of. Money can make life more comfortable, but it does not automatically make a person happier. You can have more money, more attention, more achievements, and still feel empty when you are alone. And that's what surprises so many people, because their entire lives, they believed, if I become successful, all my problems will disappear. But no, there are problems money cannot solve. Money cannot heal. Insecurity, feeling lost, lack of purpose, a chaotic mind, inner loneliness. I've met people with a lot of money, but their eyes look completely exhausted. They achieved what they once dreamed of, yet no longer felt that anything had meaning. And the saddest part is, many people spend their entire youth climbing a mountain only to reach the top and realize it wasn't the mountain they truly wanted to climb. That's what happens when people chase success only to prove something, gain recognition, be better than others, fill an inner void. You know, the modern world is very good at making people feel not enough, not rich enough, not attractive enough, not outstanding enough, not successful enough. And when you constantly live in that feeling of lack, you begin to believe, if I just achieve one more thing, I'll finally be happy. But life doesn't work that way. If you don't know how to be at peace with yourself when you have little, you will probably not feel peaceful even when you have more. Because the problem is not the amount of money, it's the condition inside you. That's why many people are successful on the outside, but completely lost on the inside. They spend too many years building careers that they forget to build themselves. They increase their income, but neglect their soul. They gain attention, but lose genuine connection. They have many followers, but no longer know who they truly are when the internet disappears. And that is a very expensive price to pay. I want you to understand this. Real success is not only about how much money you make, it's also about who you become during the process. If money causes you to lose peace, lose character, lose health, lose family, lose yourself, then it is no longer success. It becomes a dangerous exchange. Today, many people are trapped in hustle culture. They feel guilty when they rest. They feel pressured if they are not constantly productive. They always think they must do more, earn more, achieve more. And slowly, they turn life into a race with no finish line. But be careful, a person can achieve everything in society and still lose themselves inside. That's why self-discipline is not only about discipline at work, it is also the ability to maintain balance, knowing when to keep going, knowing when to stop, knowing what truly matters. Mature people understand that success without peace is still failure in the end. You know what's interesting? The truly happy people are usually not the ones who have the most. They are the ones who know what is enough for them, what truly matters, what is worth trading their life for. That's why real success principles are always connected to character. Because if you are weak inside, no external achievement will save you for long. You can buy a beautiful house, but you cannot buy peace. You can buy attention, but you cannot buy a strong soul. You can buy entertainment, but you cannot buy meaning in life. Those things must be built from within, day by day, through daily habits, growth, the way you treat others, the way you face hardship, the way you live when nobody is watching. That is where life is truly shaped. So ask yourself, if one day you achieve everything you are chasing, will you truly feel fulfilled inside? Or will you continue running, simply because you don't know what you are truly searching for? Because sometimes, what people need most is not more achievements, but a reason deep enough to wake up every day without feeling empty. And to build a life like that, you will need a quality that is becoming extremely rare today: persistence. Principle 9, persistence is the rarest advantage today. There's something I believe most people underestimate. In this era, persistence has almost become a superpower because we are living in a world that makes people quit too quickly. Everything is designed to pull your attention somewhere else. A new video, a new trend, a new opportunity, a new distraction. And as a result, many people can no longer focus long enough to pursue anything deeply. They constantly begin, but rarely finish. They gain motivation quickly, then lose it just as quickly. They constantly change goals, because anything new always looks more exciting than the daily repetitive process. And that's why most lives remain average. Not because people lack potential, but because they never stay long enough with anything. Do you know what truly creates major differences in life? Not short-term intensity, but long-term consistency. A person who reads 10 pages a day for many years will become completely different from someone who only reads when inspired. A person who trains consistently, even improving just 1% every day, will eventually surpass the person who constantly starts and quits. A person who maintains steady daily habits will build a more stable life than someone who only lives according to emotions. That is the power of accumulation. But unfortunately, the modern world has made people addicted to fast results to the point that they no longer believe in the power of slow accumulation. They want to change their lives within weeks, want success within months, want a complete transformation instantly. But the most sustainable things always require time. Have you noticed? Nature never rushes. A season of growth does not happen overnight. A river does not carve a canyon in just a few days. Everything powerful in nature is created through long-term repetition. Humans are the same way, but the internet has made us hate slowness. If results do not come quickly, we think we are failing. If we do not see obvious progress, we begin doubting ourselves. If there is no instant reward, we lose motivation, and then we quit right before life begins to change. That is the saddest part. Many people were extremely close to a better version of themselves, but stopped too early. They are like people digging for gold, digging for a long time, finding nothing, then walking away, when only a few more centimeters away was gold. You know, there are phases in life where progress is almost invisible. You still wake up on time, still keep learning, still work hard. But externally, nothing seems to have changed yet. That is when persistence is tested the most, because your emotions begin telling you, maybe all of this is pointless. But sometimes, those days that seem to produce no results are quietly building the foundation for a huge breakthrough later. That's why self-discipline is far stronger than motivation. Motivation helps you begin, but discipline helps you continue when life becomes boring. And trust me, every major journey has extremely boring phases. The same tasks, repeated, the same effort, the same process. No applause, no instant achievements, only you and one choice: continue or return to your old life. That is where the future is decided. Successful people are not always smarter. Many times, they simply endure longer. They continue when others become impatient. They stay when others walk away. They keep promises to themselves, even on the worst days. And over time, the difference begins to appear. That's why I've always believed, in a world full of distractions, the ability to maintain long-term focus is a massive advantage. In a world where everyone wants fast results, those who are persistent enough will become extremely rare, and rare people usually end up winning. But be careful. Persistence does not only mean working harder, it also means maintaining the right values, maintaining strong character throughout the entire journey. Because if success causes you to lose yourself, then the price is too high. And that brings us to the final principle. The truth is, lasting success is not built with money. It is built with character. Principle 10, lasting success is built with character. When people are young, many believe success means having more money, becoming more famous, having more power, being admired by more people. But as you grow older, you begin realizing a much deeper truth. The most important thing is not how much you have, but who you become in the process of achieving it. Because life has a very interesting rule. You can use talent to achieve success quickly, but only character allows you to keep it long term. That's why some people achieve so much, then lose everything. Not because they lacked opportunity, but because inside, they were not strong enough to carry the weight of success. You know, money only makes a person become more obvious. If they are selfish inside, money magnifies that selfishness. If they are insecure inside, success makes that insecurity louder. If they are empty inside, fame cannot save them either. That's why real success principles always begin from within, not from strategy, not from image, but from character, from the way you live, even when nobody sees you, from the way you keep promises to yourself, from the way you treat others when you have power, from the way you respond to failure, from the way you remain humble even after becoming successful. That is the true foundation. Because in the end, life does not only test whether you can achieve something, it tests whether you are mature enough not to lose yourself during the process. I've seen many people spend their entire youth chasing success. They sacrifice health, sacrifice family, sacrifice peace, even sacrifice character, only to finally achieve a life where internally they are completely exhausted. That is not victory. A truly successful life is not only beautiful on the outside, it must also be strong on the inside. You must have the ability to sleep peacefully at night, live according to your values, not pretend to be someone else, look in the mirror and still respect yourself. That is a very different kind of wealth. And unfortunately, many people realize that too late. They spend too many years building image that they forget to build their soul. They know how to make money, but do not know how to live peacefully. They know how to impress people, but do not know how to live authentically. And then one day, they have everything in society, but no longer know who they are when alone. That's why I believe self-discipline is not only about managing time, it is about managing yourself. Discipline in speech, discipline in thought, discipline in lifestyle, discipline in choosing what is right, even when nobody forces you to do it. That is where character is built. And character will always be stronger than talent in the end. Because talent may take you high, but character determines how long you can stay there. Look at the people who are truly respected. Not everyone who is richest is respected. Not everyone who is most famous is loved. People remember those who have integrity, have gratitude, are sincere, can lift others up, remain strong when facing hardship. Those are things money cannot buy. They must be built day by day, through very small choices, through the way you live when life becomes difficult, through the way you stay true to your values, even when doing wrong would be easier, through the way you continue becoming a good person in a world that increasingly makes that difficult. And maybe that is the true definition of success. Not living so other people admire you, but living a life that you yourself feel proud of, not trying to become greater than others, but becoming a better version of yourself, not chasing everything out there, but building an inner foundation strong enough so the world cannot pull you in every direction. So ask yourself, if one day you achieve every goal, will you still like the person you became along the journey? Because in the end, life is not measured by what you own. It is measured by who you become. And that is the truth about success that very few people tell you. If there's one thing I hope you remember today, it is this. Real success does not come as quickly as the internet makes you believe. It is built in silence, through discipline during the days nobody sees, and through the ability to continue when things become difficult. Do not compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Do not let social media make you feel like a failure, just because your life is developing more slowly. Remember, the strongest trees usually grow the slowest. And sometimes, the phase where you think you are standing still is actually the moment life is quietly building the foundation for something greater. If this video resonated with you, Please like and subscribe to continue this journey of growth with me. And I want to ask you something. Among these 10 principles today, which truth made you think the most? Share it in the comments section. I truly want to hear your story. Life is not measured by what we have, but by what we become. I'll see you again in the next video.